Hello, boys. Good morning. All the boys of English version 7 are welcome to this online class on behalf of St. Gregory's High School and College. Today, I'd like to talk about Hadith Sharif. This lesson belongs to lesson 12. Now, I'd like to discuss this, and here it is also shortly described the introduction of Hadith. So, you need to note down something from here. Hadith is an Arabic word. This means words or sayings. An Islamic term, the words, deeds, and silent consents of the great Prophet ﷺ are called Hadith. What is the word meaning of Hadith? Hadith means words or sayings. According to you, text here. And though you have learned many more meanings of this word in your last classes 5 and 6, so here hadith means words or saying. You can write down, and you can also write down what does uh, actually hadith mean in Islamic term, or what is hadith in Islamic terminology. In this regard, you can write the words, deeds, and silent consents of the great Prophet ﷺ are called hadith. The importance of hadith: Allah the Exalted sent many messengers for decades in order to lead the human beings towards the right path. They showed the true paths to mankind. They taught them about the virtuous and lawful works practically, and they were the ideals of the mankind. Our dear Prophet Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was to the last but the best of all the prophets. No more prophets will follow him until the Qiyamah. Everyone has to follow only all his ideals and teachings. Therefore, it is very essential to preserve all his words and his deeds. It is very essential to preserve all his words and his deeds. We can follow him only when we learn about this. Al Hadith is the preserver of all the good deeds of Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he performed in his life. Through this, we can come to know about all the instructions and teachings of the great Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he has given us. If Al Hadith had not been there, we would not have learned these things. So, Hadith is undoubtedly very much important, and it's very important to know in order to follow the virtuous and the lawful path. Hadith is the second origin of the Islamic code of life. Hadith comes next to Al Quran. Hadith is a kind of explanation of Al Quran, and we know it is also written somewhere that Hadith is the direct explanation and analysis of the Holy Quran. Direct explanation and analysis of the Holy Quran. Allah has given many instructions in the Quran. The great Prophet ﷺ has explained those instructions to us in details, and that is inscribed in Hadith. Though he taught all these rules and laws and rules and regulations to the Sahabis practically, and Sahabis has taught us. I mean, our previous people, and thus gradually we have come to know all the rules and regulations that is described by the great Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Though this description is not present in Al Quran, because Quran has laws, rules and regulations, but its explanation, its uses was described by the Hadith. In this regard, it is very much important. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in this regard, "Wama atakum rasulu fakuzu." Actually, it is said by Allah the Exalted, "Wama atakum rasulu fakuzu, wama nahakum anhu fantahu." This is a Quranic verse. Okay, boys. Sorry to mention, actually, we can know all these things through Hadith. And how can we know all these things through Hadith? And how is it possible? Allah has declared it and cleared it. It is very clear to all. Allah has proclaimed in Al Quran. We need to write down here the information. This information belongs to Surah Al Hashr, verse number 7. So, boys, please write down Surah Al Hashr and verse number 7. Accept all what the Prophet gives to you and leave what he forbids you. وَمَا أَتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. It is described that وَمَا آتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. Allah has ordered us to accept whatever Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given us, and Allah also ordered to quit those or to refrain from those which Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam forbids for us. So it is very much important to learn Hadith for our life. The importance of Hadith has been highlighted through this verse sent by Allah the Exalted. In this regard, we can say we will learn Hadith and try to follow what we learn. Now, boys, I'd like to talk about Siyah Sitta. We know Siyah, Sihahun As-Sittatu. As-Sihahu Sittatu. That means Siyah Sitta. And in this term, there are two words at least. Sihahu means Sahih or pure and correct, that is Siha, and Sitta means six. 6 books of pure Hadith are together called Siha Sitta. So this is another information to write down. What is called Siha Sitta? What does Siha mean? What does Sitta mean? Please write down separately. What does Siha mean first? Siha means pure and correct. What does Sitta means? Sitta means 6. And what is called Siha Sitta? If you are asked like this, and please write down also this question. What is called Siha Sitta? And your answer would be in this regard. Your answer would be 6 books of pure Hadiths are together called Siha Sitta. The correct Hadith or Sahih Hadith of our dear Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam have been compiled in these 6 books with the authentic descriptions. These books help us learn about the Hadith of our great Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We will learn briefly about the 6 Hadiths below. So, boys, this is all about today's class. In the next class, we shall start from Siyah Sitta 1 to 6. Till then, remain well all. Thanks very much for joining the class.